MG here from mgcovers.com, bringing you an NHL betting preview for February the 19th, 2019. We're going to give you a complete statistical breakdown and analysis of every game. Had a crazy night in NHL, lots of scoring. We got a huge card tonight, so let's get started with the games. Okay, first we have Buffalo's coming in at a plus 120. Our power ranking is an 89. Florida playing really well here lately. The favorite at minus 141 with a power ranking of 112. We do have some value there on the three-way line, and we'll explain that later. So we're going to look at that game closer. Rangers plus 178 on the road to face Carolina, another excellent team. Right now they're at minus 208. Power ranking of 123. Again, the highest ranking for our power ranking is 120. So that means Carolina has a 60% chance of winning this game. Moving on to the best team in hockey right now with a huge blowout win last night against Columbus. A lot of people thought that was a good game. We had Tampa. Got them at really low numbers. We had them at minus 122. They won. They've adjusted this line. Even though Tampa's on their third game in 4 days, they're still at pretty high favorites at minus 156, power ranking 128, facing Philly at plus 135. Philly has a power ranking of 121. So, again, this is a really a game where on paper and our power rankings, both teams look even. So when both teams look even, obviously your value would be going with the underdog in this situation. Again, I said this in previous videos, Tampa's just a tough team to wager against. I mean, they just have so much depth, great goaltending, good defense. Like I said, not a game that we're going to look at, but if you were looking just from a value perspective, Carter Hart's in the net for Philly, so if you're looking for an upset, tonight might be possibly the night it happens. Next game, Pittsburgh, minus 161. Also playing their third game in 4 days, even though I think their first two are at home. They're at a 98 power ranking. And one thing to point out about our power rankings, somewhere around 100 is when a team has a 50% chance of winning the game, so we like to wager on teams that are at least 100 or close to it. On the road to face New Jersey. New Jersey's the underdog, plus 140. So considering both teams are fairly even and we're getting plus 140 money, we do have some value on the New Jersey side. So we'll definitely look at those guys. Columbus blown out last night, but again, Tampa's the best team. Columbus still a pretty good team. They're at plus 105. We have a power ranking of 118. On the road to face Montreal at minus 125. Again, Montreal is playing some really good hockey a month ago, struggled here lately. Columbus is playing their third game in 4 days, so there's a fatigue issue, but again, we do have value considering Columbus on paper is the better team, but listed as a dog. Next, Toronto at plus 100, have a power ranking of 109. On the road to face St. Louis, minus 120, power ranking of 124 for St. Louis. Really surprised that this line is as low as it is. We had the similar line a couple nights ago. We won with St. Louis at minus 120. St. Louis probably the hottest team in hockey, won their last 10 straight. So we definitely have value even playing the favorite in this situation. So we're going to look at that game closer. Next, Anaheim starting to show some life here. Plus 185. Still a 69 power ranking. Minnesota, I didn't have the minus sign there. They're at minus 227. They're huge favorites here, even though they have a power ranking of 83. Explain something briefly. Our power rankings, the lowest our power rankings will go to is an 80, which means we would round Anaheim up to 80, because in hockey, even the worst teams have a 40% chance of winning this. So this game, from a value perspective, would favor Anaheim. It's one we sort of looked at possibly considering. Again, not enough valued or not enough to convince us that Anaheim has a clear shot at winning this game, but might be something we add later on in the day. Next, Nashville 105. They have a 99 power ranking. Really close game here. Should be Dallas a 100 power ranking. They are the favorites at minus 110. Finally, Arizona at plus 125. 86 power ranking going against Edmonton at minus 147. Again, Edmonton just really struggling. So that's kind of give Arizona a slight edge there as well. All right, so moving on to the games we're going to take a further look at. Whoops. Sorry about that. Dropped my headphones. Florida Now, what I listed here was I listed the odds on the three-way line, and I'm going to explain that. A three-way line, in normal money line sports, you have whatever team wins, that's who, you have a favorite and an underdog. In a three-way line, what you have is you have a favorite to win, you have an underdog to win, and you have a tie, which means the game goes into overtime. If the game goes in overtime, unless you wagered the overtime line, you would lose. But what happens is now that you have three different scenarios, the odds change, which means for the favorite, the odds go down, and for the dog, the odds go up. So in this situation where normally Florida was a huge favorite, if we look at their line on the three-way line, we get odds at plus 115. Now, our line for Florida is minus 130, which gives them a 56% chance of winning the game. Now, in doing my research on a three-way line, the game goes into overtime. All NHL games go into overtime about 10 to 11% of the time. So what we do in that line and factor in our handicapping to see if we have value, we take another 10% off of that 115. So that line would really be plus 105. So again, our line minus 130, and we're getting plus 105. So we do have value there. So let's look at the game. Florida comes in with definitely some confidence. They've won their last 3 out of 5. Buffalo in this situation only has a 44% chance of winning. And actually, Buffalo has a losing road record, which you would expect. Florida does have a winning road record. Hutton is in the pipes for Buffalo. He's really, really struggled. Only one win in his last 6 starts. Reimer in the net for Florida has actually played pretty well. 3-2, 3-3, and 1 are the goals he's given up in his last 5. We really like Florida here on the three-way line. Next, we got New Jersey at plus 140. Our line for the game is plus 115, giving them a 47% chance of winning the game. New Jersey does come in with some confidence. They won their last 3 out of 5. Pittsburgh has 2. However, Pittsburgh is playing their 3rd game in 4 days, so we have a confidence advantage. We also have a fatigue advantage. I just found out it looked like I thought Schneider was going to be in the pipes for New Jersey, but it looks like it's Kincaid, who has not played well at all. He's given up 4, 8, 2, 5, and 4 goals in his last 5 starts. Pittsburgh does have a winning road record, so this is really a tough call, even though we're getting value. New Jersey plus 140, so not sure exactly how we'll go in this game. So move on to the next one, Columbus plus 105. Our line is minus 145, giving them a 59% chance of winning the game. Columbus does come in with a lot of confidence. One of their last 4 out of 5. Actually, that would be last 4 out of 6, considering they lost last night. They do have a winning road record. However, they are fatigued. When we really look at fatigue, I know a lot of people look at fatigue in a back-to-back. Back-to-back is not as much fatigue as a team playing their 3rd game in 4 days. You play your 3rd game in 4 days in hockey, there's definitely some fatigue that factors in. A back-to-back, not so much. Looking at the goalie, let's see. Price will be in the pipes for Montreal. Has given up 2, 3, 3, 4, and 2 goals. Bobrovsky's given up 2, 3, had a shutout, 3 and 2 in his last 5 starts. So I would say goalies are probably even there. It's really a tough call either way. You do have value with Columbus. Moving on to our final game we're looking at, St. Louis minus 120 odds. Really, really, really surprised at those odds. Again, we have St. Louis, one of the hottest teams in hockey. Our line is minus 150, giving them a 60% chance of winning the game. Now, one thing to point out, they have, obviously St. Louis has a lot of confidence. We do have fatigue going against us, as this is St. Louis's 3rd game in 4 days. But one thing to point out, a lot of people don't look at this, odds makers that are general public. Toronto, this is their 6th road game in a row. They haven't been home since February the 6th. It's now February the 19th. So, and when I handicap, I generally think of just, you think of just logical things. If you've ever been in business or, traveled, you've been on the road for 2 or 3 weeks. That is very taxing in addition to playing, a professional sport like hockey. So I would say even though St. Louis is their 3rd game in 4 days, I think Toronto's fatigued as well, which kind of evens out the fatigue factor. Not really sure. It's early Tuesday morning. We don't really have a green light on who's starting for St. Louis. Either way, Got Jake Allen, had a shutout his last start. 4 goals, followed by 1 goal and 3 goals he's given up. Anderson, decent, giving up 2, 3, 2, 3, and 4 goals in his last 5 starts. So not really a goalie advantage, but I still think St. Louis is a better team and offers value there. If Bennington is in the pipes, no doubt about it, St. Louis would be the play. So next, let's move on to our selections for today. All right, we're going to go with Florida plus 115 on the 3-way line. St. Louis minus 120 on the money line. Now, again, I set this video up last night, but I'm sort of looking at some other leans. I'm also looking at potentially playing Carolina on the money line. So check my Instagram for updates. If you've not followed me there, I'll leave a link in the description box. Again, like the video and subscribe. Good luck, whoever you're wagering on, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.